All right, let's get back to it. Let's take a look at the vessels on the heart. Now I know this heart's been cut and a little wonky, but that's okay because the vessels are in pretty good tact. So what again? I'm looking for the front of the heart, and I see right here this pulmonary artery coming out. So direct. How do I orient myself? If I'm looking at a heart and it's sitting in a pan straight up, and it's like, hey, what vessel is this one here? It's a couple marks that you want, a couple landmarks you want to see. One, pulmonary artery. That means this is left side. That's right back here, okay? And this is the front of the heart that I'm staring from that direction. Front's that way, going that way. This is the back or the posterior of the heart here. So what I want to look for is the pulmonary artery lays down across the top and opens towards the left side of the heart or your right as you're facing it. The other artery that does that's the aorta, and it's directly behind the pulmonary artery. So the pulmonary artery, directly behind it's the aorta. Now, it opens to the side. This guy right there that's been cut, there's part of it there, here's part of it here. But it opens to the same side the pulmonary artery does, okay? Because the aortic arch comes out of the left side, up out of the top, and then down to the rest of the body. Now, the other thing that comes off of it is you have this giant tube, and this is a really big branch here. So you have your aorta that's been cut there, and the brachiocephalic artery, we use the red, is this ginormous vessel there. If I were to be able to stuff this thing through there and go all the way down, these two probes would meet somewhere down in here, and you could hear them clicking. I know I did that for a lot of you in lab, where you're like, oh yeah, let's verify, because you can hit it and you can hear it and see. But I can't quite get that far today. But the brachiocephalic comes off of the aortic arch almost, or off the aorta, the trunk of the aorta, and goes and supplies the head and neck region of the sheep. All right, so again, I'll pull another one. Here is the pulmonary artery there. Pulmonary artery and the aorta open up and flow to that direction, at least out of in the hearts that you get, and then the brachiocephalic will come off the top. So the brachiocephalic is more to the right side. Aorta, the opening of the aorta, the way these sheep hearts are cut, are more to the left side of the heart. All right. Now, the other vessel we needed to identify is the superior vena cava. The superior vena cava is going to drain the head and neck regions of blood and get it back to the right atrium. So, my landmark, find the back of the heart. Do I see a pulmonary artery here? You might think this big old thing here is it and get confused. Just take a look. Where are all these vessels pointing? They're pointing to your left, and that means they're opening towards the aorta, which is coming out of the left side. So I'm looking at the back of the heart. Also, I have my ridge of fat right here. So that should start screaming at you, this is the back of the heart. If this is the back and I'm staring at it that direction, this is the right side and this is the left. So this is the right auricle. And in the bottom corner, or the inferior medial aspect of, there's some terms for it, of the right auricle, is the vessel that supplies the right atrium with blood. And this comes from the head and neck region, or superior. So this is the superior vena cava. The inferior is tucked underneath this layer of fat. This little bit here is kind of part of connective tissue by it. But if we were to stick a probe through there and snake it through, it would come in here in the bottom, and that's the inferior vena cava. It's hard to find on sheep heart and a lot of times, so I don't worry about it, and nor do you. But the superior vena cava, you have to find the back of the heart, find the right auricle, and the vessel that's going to the bottom corner of it is the superior vena cava. So you will see a probe going in, and you can see it, we'll open the heart, and lo and behold, there it is, sitting in the right auricle, or right atrium, right? There's the auricle there. So we'll close the heart back up. Superior vena cava comes in to the back of the heart and fills the right atrium with venous blood, getting ready to be pumped to the lungs to be oxygenated. All right, so that's that. It's usually a big straw. And what I've told some students before, and I know I haven't told everybody, but if I were to reinsert that and look at this, what shape does it take? There's a long leg and a curvy thing right there. It looks like a B, a lowercase b. Okay, so that's superior vena cava. All right, on the back side of the heart. So again, if you're not sure, am I looking at a ridge of fat? If so, and this is going into the right auricle here, then that's got to be the superior vena cava. All right, so there's that one. So that is just the amount of stuff we've got. Now let's go ahead and open this up while I've got you. And I know I'm kind of bouncing around on these videos about structures, but with this heart, I actually have a good candidate here. So I'm going to open this up. Yeah, it's disturbing. But I have a very, very, very good look here. This is my aorta. Okay, how do I know? Look at the wall thickness. There, we already said on one video. When the heart's open, find the thickest wall. There's one wall there. Here's the other little guy right there. This is the right side, this thin wall. This is the left because it has a thick wall. So what giant artery drains the left ventricle of blood? The aorta. All right? So I open this up, and this is why the semilunar valves were very hard to find, because they are at the base. See if I can get that on video. They're at the base of the aorta, so, and then the ventricle, or on the right side it's the pulmonary artery and the ventricle. So right here, this is the, and it's intact. I've rarely seen, so whoever cut this heart, well done. Right here, this flap sticking out, that's one side, and that's the other one. These little hammocky looking things look like hammocks, or half moons. That's why they call them semi-lunar, because there's two of them, and they're kind of crescent moon shape. When the ventricles relax and then go to fill up with blood again, these valves close shut and keep the blood in the aorta or the pulmonary artery. Now, so you will need to know these. Aortic semilunar valve here, and the pulmonary will look the same on the other side. Now see this kind of hole here? That right there is a main trunk that supplies the anterior portion of the heart with blood. So some of you are going, well, how's the heart get its blood supply? Because we don't talk about it in the ventricles. It gets shot out right at the base of the aorta here and in various other places, and it supplies blood to the major coronary arteries. All right, and I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not holding you to it, but somebody asked that question, so I'm throwing it right back as part of the review. All right, so that's the aortic semilunar valve. Now, on some of your dissections, the pulmonary semilunar valve was hidden, so what you would have to do is close the heart, track the pulmonary artery, which is this guy. Can you see it on the back? Oh, heavens, this is a wild one. Normally, I'd have to track this in and go through and then see it poke out in here somewhere. But with this cut actually being made incorrectly here, it kind of works to our advantage. So the pulmonary semilunar valve, I think that's part of it right there. There's one cusp, and the other one is right here. Okay, and then down in here, I know it's kind of a weird look. In there is the right ventricle, down deep down. So if I look at that on the inside, see how it's there? Now if I open it up, there's my thumb. So it's the right ventricle. Okay, so that right there, pulmonary artery, the valve that prevents blood from flowing from the artery back into the right ventricle are these. Whoops, I think I just pulled one out. Nope, no I didn't. Pulmonary semilunar valves right there. Awesome. And I think those are the main structures that you got to worry about, kiddos. So right now, I'll stop this because it's 9 minutes long, and then I'll see if I can make a little quiz. All right. Actually, that's a lot of videos to watch, so go ahead and take that for what it's worth and be ready to go. Come in, see me during Star Study Hall to review for your quiz.